What's up, everybody? It's Three Wheel Khalil, and I need all of you to think back to a time when we would drive to work. We'd swipe our key card or clock in and go into a building that the work was done in. You'd actually go inside that building and work there. And you'd normally have on clothes that were appropriate for that job. I know, might be hard for some of you to remember, but we used to do it. And this week, I went to Nevada, went back in time, and did that again. And I wanted to talk about commuting on a Can-Am on-road vehicle. Specifically, that's this Spyder F3 Limited that I'm riding out here in Nevada. But for you, it might be your Spyder RT, it might be a Ryker. And I kind of wanted to talk about some of the differences, the options that you have, and just how it works and if it can work, and maybe what the best things are to do if you are planning to commute on your Can-Am vehicle. So, like usual, stick with me. Before we get started on this journey, just wanted to give a big shout out to Can-Am On Road for hooking me up with this Spyder F3 Limited for a few days while I was out in Vegas. They organized it through Pro Shop Motorsports and Marine. Super cool dealership, knowledgeable folks. I wouldn't hesitate to recommend it to you if you live in the area. As most of you already know, I don't live in the area, but I was in Vegas on business, commuting daily from the MGM Grand Hotel in Las Vegas out to Boulder City, Nevada. Now that's roughly about a 40-minute commute, and most days I was just doing this in the rental car that was provided by my company, but on a few special days I got to take out this Spyder F3 Limited and really get to know it a little bit better. I've ridden Spyders for short romps, but never really gotten to sink my teeth into the Spyder platform and really get to know it. So I was super stoked when I got the opportunity to check this out, do a little bit more of a long form, impression of the Spyder F3 platform and tell you guys what I think about it if your main goal is commuting specifically. Now, I don't want to sell any Can-Am on-road vehicles short. Last year I had the opportunity to check out the new Spyder RT models, and while there was so much cool, new, and innovative about those vehicles, there was still a little bit of the same with them. And what I mean is that the stance and the looks were aggressive, but the feel was still very cushy. It still felt like I was on top of a Spyder RT, but at the same time, I did get that feeling of just being open and on the road and enjoying that, but I didn't feel as connected as I do on my Ryker or on this Spyder F3 Limited. So I think that's the big difference. If you're looking for that ultra plush comfort with the power to support it, go RT all day. But if you're looking for power, comfort, a little bit of that raw edge, F3 is the platform for you. And if you're just thinking all raw edge, give me the raw edge first, I think Ryker's probably the platform for you. But you should definitely go check out all of them. But with that kind of framework in mind, it's a little bit easier to see how these machines perform and why they perform the way that they do. So with commuting, honestly, this F3 Limited might be, for me, the perfect commuting platform. If I was going to work 30-40 minutes away from my home every day, based on my experience, it's hard to think of another Can-Am on road that I would prefer to this Spyder F3 Limited. Maybe the Spyder F3T, but at that point we're just splitting hairs. It really just matters if you want that super sleek body line or if you want to give that up in order to get that extra storage on the back and the additional passenger seat backrest, as well as I think factory heated grips are included in that F3 Limited package. However, me personally, I might take the F3T just because I really do like the sleek lower look. But I will say, on the windy days that I was commuting out here in Vegas, those heated grips did come in handy, and if I could option that on the F3T, I definitely would not hesitate to do so if I lived in a place that even got the slightest bit chilly. It's one of those things that you think, I don't need it, but when you need it, or when you want it. It's just a really nice luxury item to have on. So I enjoyed it while I had it. Don't know if I'd go out of my way to go get it, but if it was an option, I would choose it. Now let me just kind of give a quick breakdown on the Spyder F3 Limited. It's got the 1330cc engine, which is an awesome power plant. It's a little bit extra pep in the Limited model, so I think you get 115 horsepower out of that model, whereas on the detuned version, just on a normal F3, I think it's just 110 maybe, or 105. Not sure exactly which of those two, but you get a little extra pep out of the F3 Limited, which may or may not be offset by the additional weight that you're going to be carrying on an F3 Limited in terms of your extra saddlebags. You're going to put stuff in there. You're more likely to be riding with a passenger since you have that full-on back seat, backrest, heated grips for the passenger. So it's more or less to kind of give you the extra oomph to bring the extra weight that you're probably going to be bringing along when you're riding the F3 Limited. But in addition to that power plant, you have a ton of storage on board. You've got the really cool BRP infotainment system up front. I was actually a little bit surprised. One of the nights that I was riding out there, I took the time to set up my phone to it and really get it dialed in. That system is super high tech. I'm hoping in the future that they can strip a little bit of that functionality and give it to us on the Ryker. I mean, just something as simple as adding some Bluetooth functionality to where our bikes can connect with our phones and we can get a little bit more of a data readout for our phones would be awesome. If we could learn a little bit more information on our Rykers through a Bluetooth connection with the Ryker, I think would be a super big deal. It doesn't have to be as all out fancy as this infotainment is, because this thing can connect to both your helmet and your phone, and so that you can quickly transition between, okay, let me send the audio to my helmet because I'm talking on my phone, or let me send the audio to the speakers because I'm cruising out on the strip out here in Las Vegas, because hey, if you know, you're on the strip. But it's a welcome addition on a vehicle that you're going to be really racking up the miles on. You really can dig in on this computer to figure out trip information, MPG information at a much more granular level than you can on, say, a Ryker. The menu systems on here really feature a lot of information that's available to you at a glance if you want it, and that's a big deal on something that you're going to be riding every single day, 40-50 miles each way, or 10-15 miles each way. It's definitely something to consider if you're thinking of buying a true commuter machine, which I've said for a long time. Any bike can be a tourer, any bike can be a commuter. Not every bike can be a race bike, but most vehicles can be what you want them to be, and definitely touring is one of the lighter categories on a modern bike, because most modern bikes can go, they can all ride, they can all keep going and going and going and going and going. Now, doing that in comfort, doing that in style, doing that effortlessly, yeah, now that's where we're really talking about a quote-unquote touring bike or a touring motorcycle. But just doing it, yeah, they can all do it. So that's just something to consider when you're thinking about what your budget is, what you want to do with your vehicle most of the time. This past year, I didn't go into the office but maybe like 4 or 5 times. So for me, commuting, a commuter vehicle was not even on the forefront of my mind. Even in the future, where I'm thinking about moving back up to the Atlanta area soon, where I'll be going into the office more often, I don't think I'll want to be commuting in Atlanta every day on my motorcycle. So something to consider is just whether or not it makes sense in your area, how much you like being on a motorcycle for 40 minutes in the morning, the prep time that it takes, because it does take prep. For my outfit today, I had to plan it. I had to plan a motorcycle jacket, my work polo underneath, I wear the khakis, and I'll wear my motorcycle boots at the bottom. Luckily, I own motorcycle boots that are fairly sleek looking. They look more just like normal kind of more fashion quote unquote boots, but it's a more subtle look than if I was going there in like full race gear or something. But that is all kind of part of the dance that you have to do if that's what you want to do, which is commute on your motorcycle. Unless you just work in a place like you own your business, or you work in a place that really doesn't care, then you can wear whatever you want to wear. But for most people, you kind of want to come in under the radar, because for some reason, at work we feel like we have to come in under the radar and not let people know, like, oh, I'm riding a bike, or I'm driving this flashy car. Really, we just want to come into work, do our jobs, and get out of there. So with that being said, those are things that you have to factor in if you're even interested in commuting. I'll probably throw up a picture, if I haven't already, of what I wore, just so you can kind of get an idea of how it can work if you want to ride to work. And then all I literally had to do was take off my jacket, take off my helmet, take off my gloves, and put them in a top case. First of all, which they all fit in easily with space to spare. And then I was able to just grab my bag out of that top case and go into the office and work for the rest of the day. So definitely an advantage of having a bike with so much storage is that you don't even have to lug around your helmet and walk it inside the building and sit it down somewhere. Or you can just toss it right in that top case, lock it, and move on with your day, and no one is the wiser. Now, one of the most important things for commuting on any motorcycle in general is being ready for changing weather conditions, the elements, all that good stuff. And it also makes a really good case for having more storage on board, because when you have something like a Spyder F3 Limited, and you have 2 saddlebags plus your top case, you can easily dedicate a whole saddlebag to just being for rain gear, having, like your frog togs and all that good stuff set aside in a case that you literally just use for that, and still have an overwhelming amount of storage on your vehicle. That is something that you really should consider if you're thinking that, hey, this is going to be my daily driving, commuting vehicle. Now, you can do this on a Ryker, you can do this on a Spyder F3. You just have to think about, hey, how do I get it? Is that platform reliable? Because obviously on a Spyder F3 Limited, it's built in, it's lockable storage, it's all the other accessories are kind of built around knowing that this is the setup that you're going to have. Whereas some of the aftermarket stuff, which is really cool for the Ryker and stuff like that, it's not going to be as modular as the stuff that's coming directly from Can-Am. But I really do like the Ryker luggage kit, but for me, that's not the style I wanted to go with my Ryker. I want to keep my Ryker kind of as sleek as possible. I even rocked a windshield for a little bit, and I'm already kind of back off the windshield game. I'm keeping it low profile and sleek all day. So hopefully I gave you all a few things to think about when it comes to commuting on a Can-Am on-road vehicle, whether that's a Ryker or a Spyder F3 or RT. You really want to do a few things, and this is what I think it essentially boils down to, is consider your commute. How long are you riding? What do you need to bring with you? What's the weather in your area? And then tailor your ride either immediately from when you buy it at the dealership or later through aftermarket parts to that commute. So, for example, me, I work in IT. A lot of times you just physically need to move things. You need to go to X place, pick up X thing, and go install it in another place. And there's just no substitute for storage. Sometimes you might need to go to Micro Center, pick up 20 cables, and get to another place and install these cables into, a server, some switches, etc. So just can't avoid that you may need more storage, and a backpack can only do so much. Whereas if you work a particular job that all you need to do is physically be there, hey man, you might just want to take your Ryker out and burn rubber at every stoplight till you get there, because hey, you don't even need a backpack on. You just need your gear and to get there. And so that is definitely something to consider based on the area you live in, what job you do, and how comfortable, quote unquote, you like to be when you ride. Because when you're on a Ryker, you're going to feel the road a little bit more than if you're on an F3 Limited or an RT. But if that's your vibe, that's your vibe. You don't need to be on something so luxurious to do something so simple as ride 30 minutes. It's just one of those things that, like I said earlier, everybody kind of gets into this craze about what's a touring bike versus what's not a touring bike. And I think I've heard someone say it, a touring bike is one that you tour with. So a commuter bike is one that you commute on. And that's all it really boils down to. So, hey, at the end of the day, ride your ride, enjoy your ride, and hope to see you guys out on the street. Let me know in the comments below. What do you ride? Do you ride it to work? Do you have a 30-minute commute? Do you have a 5-minute commute? Love to hear all about it in the comments below. And as always, remember, life's more fun on 3 wheels. Peace.